Hello, these are the closing remarks for UX and Design 2023. My name is Ann Sussman. It's been an incredible conference. We've had this great opportunity to see all the new tools and technologies to further and better understand how humans experience the built environment. And we can also see something else, how wise Charles Darwin was saying, natura non facit saltus. Nature doesn't make leaps. We see the world like an animal because we are one. And with new eye tracking tools like iMotions Online, you can really see this pretty quickly. Like if you take a picture of a house, this is in upstate New York, and then you Photoshop out the windows, that's the picture on the right, the original is on the left, and you run it through an iMotions Online study, you see pretty quickly that without conscious awareness control, over 50 people, when they look at this paired images, they'll go right for the house that's more face-like. Same thing happens with sculpture. This is Bruce Rosenbaum of Modvik. The sculpture on the left is the actual one. The one on the right is where we photoshopped out the eyes. And look what we found. Immediately, when given the pair, people focused on the more face-like sculpture. And the same is true with a spoon. Pretty funny, isn't it? Here's a face, an actual face, with iMotions lab study. And here again, we saw how much the eyes draws people's attention. And that's the thing that you really need to understand. Our brain is a social engagement system. Biologists know that. And that's what's looking at buildings. So if you take La Villa Rotonda, famous building in Italy on the left, and you Photoshop out the eyes, or the eye-like windows on the right, and ask people which is preferable, they'll tend to say the one on the left. And you now know the science, we now know the science in the 21st century about why that's happening. Approach-oriented emotions are intensified by direct gaze. People feel when they see Villa Rotonda that the building's looking at them, whereas avoidant emotions are intensified by averted gaze. People think the building on the right isn't looking at them. And that non-conscious experience is directing our behaviors. It's fascinating when you apply this science as well to art. In this case, this is a famous Picasso painting. Here we're looking at this Picasso painting, and we can see people within 1.5 seconds really focused on the face. In this case, we had 33 people looking at her in a lab study. And then when we tried to be a little bit like Picasso and photoshopped out an eye, what we saw is that people couldn't look at the face quite as quickly. Time to first fixation falls to 1.6 seconds, nor do they spend as much time looking at the face. And you can see that also in the shadow study, which aggregates the eye tracking data, that what happens is the gaze will fall to the hand away from the face when there aren't two eyes. And so that's the basic thing that you start getting at, is you really start to understand how making eye contact is so important for people. It's one of the most powerful means of communications humans have. And the other thing that's noted is that the human eyes are different from those of most of the other members of the animal kingdom. We have a sclera, is what it's called. It's the white outer coating of the eye that surrounds the iris, and that makes our eyes very visible when they move. Okay, and there's something called the cooperative eye hypothesis, and it suggests that the eye's distinctive visible characteristics, particularly the white around the iris, evolved to make it easier for humans to follow another gaze while communicating, while working together on a task. And so here you see that it's not random. Disneyland, here it is, Disneyland Main Street buildings, about 52 different building elevations, all very face-like. They are in North America, Europe, and Asia. All very popular venues, and you can see that each of the buildings have eye-like, face-like facades. It tends to be white around the windows, just like the sclera around the human iris. Oh my gosh, and here's the same thing at the Tufts Department of Urban Planning with Justin standing in front of it, exact same design as well. So this is just to wrap up then. What we've heard in the talks we've heard today is the importance of understanding how unconscious processing outside our conscious control directs our behavior in the built environment. We've also seen how biometric tools such as eye tracking can be aggregated to predict human behavior, including why we choose to approach or avoid different buildings or streetscapes. We've also learned how evolutionary history largely presets the human response to external stimuli, including how we're hardwired to look for and at faces continually, including in building facades. We want to see windows that look like eyes. And we can appreciate the meaning and relevance of biometric terms such as fixation and pre-attentive processing for 21st century architectural analysis. Well, stay curious and stay in touch. The Happy, our nonprofit, would love to hear from you. Thank you very much.